Ever since I started this channel back in 2020, Tennessee has been the overthinking about either the Black Hills or Tennessee. It's basically my Darth Vader, my Klingons, my will they, won't they, Ross and Rachel story. Hello, I'm Tristan with Mindful Living Realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota, the gateway to the Black Hills. And today I'm doing the head-to-head, the Black Hills versus Tennessee, not because anybody asked me to, but because I want to, and it seems like a pretty good video for you guys to figure out what state might be better for you. Now, obviously, I do real estate in the Black Hills of South Dakota, so to say that I'm not biased is probably a bit wrong, but I'll try to give you the facts on both sides, pros and cons, so you can make the best decision for you and your family. After all, we're buying a house, not a bunch of collectibles off of Facebook Marketplace.
It's like printing my own money.
Now, obviously, South Dakota and Tennessee are two big states, and they're kind of different in all their locations, which is why I'm going to stick with the Black Hills of South Dakota, not necessarily East Side and Sioux Falls. And we'll also talk about the different areas of Tennessee because, Nashville is its own little island with a lot of the other rural areas as well as some of the bigger cities. Let's start with the most obvious one, the weather. Obviously, we're in the north. Rapid City and the Black Hills, we have 4 seasons. We get all 4 seasons, but we also have a pretty significant winter usually. This past year has been an exception to that, and this coming year sounds like it may be more of the same. But typically, we will see around 50 inches of snow a year in Rapid City and up to 200 inches of snow in Lead and Deadwood. Combine that with the wind that's always there, blizzards, and double-digit below wind chill factors, and suddenly South Dakota may not seem like a wonderful place to live after all. However, winter usually hangs in the 20 and 30 degree temperatures, and we're not always seeing those blizzards or stupid cold all of the time. And since we're on the west side of the Missouri River, our humidity is considerably lower than east side and down in the Tennessee area for sure. Our winters here are considerably milder than, say, North Dakota or Minnesota winters, where we'll see temperatures in the 40s and 50s, sometimes during the middle of the winter, to kind of give us a little respite from the snow and cold. Now, that's not to say that we don't have some warm spells. This past year, we did have a couple 100-degree days. We do get hot, but since the humidity isn't high, it doesn't feel like 10 degrees hotter like it does down in Florida. Typically, we're going to hang in the high 80s to low 90s, but usually we'll have some higher temperature degree days or weeks during the summertime as well. It's the kind of climate where you never really know what's going to happen. In the same closet, you better have a parka, a jacket, and a swimsuit for whatever time. Tennessee weather is also split between different parts of the state. Middle and East Tennessee, such as Nashville and Knoxville, they usually have mild, wet winters, which is barely freezing for long, but the summers are hot and humid. We're talking 90-degree temperatures with dew points that make you feel like you're actually wearing the air. You walk out and you can barely breathe because of all the hot. If you've ever stepped off a plane in Nashville and your glasses immediately fog up, you know what I'm talking about. It's basically sleeping in a crock pot from June until September. So if you hate that humidity, Rapid City wins by a landslide. But if you love the heat and snuffling show is on your not gonna do it ever list, Tennessee is the place for you. Beyond just the basic weather, we have severe weather in these two states. And this is where it can get kind of interesting because we're talking about insurance rates and, not actually dying. Hail is our severe weather of choice in the Rapid City and the Black Hills area. In fact, just the other day, when a hailstorm come through during the Sturgis Rally of all times, where the hail was on the ground like snow, and we had some hailstorms that were about 4 inches in diameter. So some pretty significant hail that caused damage to houses and cars. And since we have a significant hailstorm somewhere in the Black Hills, at least once per year, that keeps our insurance rates a little bit higher than some other states. However, that's the extent of our severe weather. Obviously, we have winter storms and blizzards. They can be intense and cold, but homes are built for this here in the north. And, we get days of warning, so you know what to expect. As far as those tornadoes, we don't usually get a lot of them in the Rapid City and Black Hills. Sometimes there's a freak one, but in general, those are going out into the plains into eastern South Dakota. However, Tennessee is a different story when it comes to those tornadoes. Middle Tennessee now sits inside what meteorologists are calling Dixie Alley. And this is where destructive tornadoes are a pretty huge deal. The deadliest tornado in Tennessee history hit actually just a few years ago in 2021. That was an EF4 tornado that killed about 57 people. Back in March of 2020, a tornado ripped through parts of Nashville and killed 25 people. And this isn't something that's, that happened back then. Tennessee alone has logged over 50 tornadoes back into 2025. Unlike the Midwest classic tornado season where you kind of can see or feel them coming a long ways away, Tennessee twisters have a habit of showing up out of the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night in the middle of winter. but at least you don't get all the blizzards, snow, and cold. Rapid City's worst case is a hailstorm that dings your roof or possibly a really cold front that may freeze your pipes. Unfortunately, Tennessee and Nashville's worst case scenarios have been lost to some life through those tornadoes. Let's go over the pros and cons for the weather for each area. Check out this list I got right here. Our pros, we've got 4 seasons, dry air, low humidity, lots of sunshine, beautiful fall, sometimes spring, and snow can be fun if you like outdoor activities. However, the cons are wind, cold, snow, and temperature changes out of nowhere. If you're thinking Tennessee, the pros are a much shorter winter, longer growing season. The spring is gorgeous, fall can be spectacular, and it's green everywhere. However, the cons, it's a lot more humid, you've got a lot more heat, thunderstorms, tornadoes, bugs, mold, allergens, and a whole lot more rain. It's not really along which weather is better, it's more along the lines of which one do you like the best. Alright, now let's get into the cost of living and taxes, what it costs to actually live in each one of these areas, because as you know, you're probably looking at this because both states have 0% income taxes. This not only includes income tax on your salaries and wages, but also on your capital gains, dividends, and retirement accounts. A big boost for both South Dakota and Tennessee, but neither one wins the race here. As we move into sales tax, we see things split up a little bit. Tennessee has a 10% state sales tax, which combined with other municipalities and cities can be up to 9 to 10% once everything is said and done. South Dakota, we're about 4.5%. We will be at 4.5% actually here in a couple years. Adding in some of the new county sales tax and city sales tax, you're looking closer to 6 to 7% total sales tax for the state of South Dakota. But then we move into property tax, and this is where Tennessee really comes up from behind. Its effective property tax rate is about 0.52%, where South Dakota's effective tax rate almost doubles that, around 1 to 1.2% of appraised value is going to be your tax rate in South Dakota. Now, obviously, working at everything being equal, but of course, you're going to pay more for a house in Nashville than you will in Rapid City, as we'll talk about here very shortly. Overall, according to cost of living data, Rapid City runs about 14% lower than national average across the board of what it would cost to live in our area. Nashville itself is pretty much closer to national average, but the rest of Tennessee gets a little bit closer to Rapid City in the average cost of living. However, if you look at the fact that Rapid City has a wage income that's considerably lower than a lot of the rest of the country, the wages around here are not that great and has been a problem for a number of years. Factoring that into how home prices have gone up 30% in the past 5 years, and just the general overall increase of everything in price across the board, it can be pretty difficult for a Rapid City wage earner to make a decent living in the Rapid City and surrounding area and put money aside for future things. Speaking of home prices, let's talk about what you can expect to spend on a house in Rapid City and what you can expect to spend in Tennessee and even Nashville. Last year, 2025, according to the Black Hills MLS, the median price during this time was about $365,000, with the average home sale price about $435,000, and we're talking about being on the market for around 50 days on the market. Year to date this year, according to the Black Hills MLS, things are holding pretty steady around those same numbers, with the average days on market creeping up to a little bit more. So we're seeing things right around the $400,000 price point for your average home in Rapid City, although in 2019, that average price point was closer to $250,000, so you can see the issue. All right, now let's talk about home prices in Tennessee, and this can, of course, range depending on where you want to be and where the options are, of course. I don't have access to any local MLSs, so of course I'm using data that I can find online, and you know what our friend Chat AI tells us. We've basically got 3 tiers of home price categories in the Tennessee area. If you're looking in the Williamson County, Franklin, or Brentwood counties, you're looking at about $1 million median home sale price. So that's not average, that's median. That's the one in the middle of all the homes that have been sold, right? If you're looking in Nashville or the Davidson County, you're looking at around $500,000 median home sale price. And it's also more expensive in, I think, Sevier County and the Gatlinburg area, mostly because lots of tourism, high because of vacation homes and investment properties. You're going to be a little closer to Rapid City in some of the middle tier areas of Tennessee. For example, the Tri-Cities, about $430,000 in 2025. Chattanooga is about $340,000 in 2025. Knoxville is about mid $300,000, depending on geography, property type, etc. And then if you're looking on the Murfreesboro area, that's around the $400,000 mid-high range. So that's pretty similar to the Rapid City area in that price point. However, it is possible to get home prices even cheaper in some areas of Tennessee. For example, the Clarksville and Montgomery counties, they're generally low to mid $300,000s. The Memphis and Shelby counties, about $225,000 median in 2025. And if you're looking to slow down and get to rural West and Middle Tennessee, you're going to be looking at significantly lower prices than your cities around the Tennessee area. I did have one client that decided to move to a warmer location from here where they thought maybe homesteading would be a good idea and just felt like it was too cold here. They moved and actually got into a property for considerably less. You wouldn't be able to get touch a property here in Rapid City for that amount. Statewide, Realtor.com has Tennessee's median home price about $385,000. So if you're considering Rapid City and somewhere in the state of Tennessee, your home price is really going to depend on where you want to be. Now, that's actually true over here in Rapid City. Obviously, if you go up to Spearfish, that's a considerably higher community, higher price community as far as home sales are concerned. But if you've got $500,000 to spend, you'll probably find a pretty decent property here in Rapid City or in Tennessee, other than anywhere around the Nashville area. Quick breakdown: if Nashville is your dream Tennessee location, you're looking at roughly 50 to 70% more house payment than you would have in Rapid City for a similar sized property. If Tennessee Dream is more smaller town East Tennessee, that's a little similar to Rapid City, and it's going to be more about your location, lifestyle needs, than it will be the actual home prices. Politics between South Dakota and Tennessee are pretty the same. They're both solidly red states, with the biggest cities, Sioux Falls and Nashville, being a little bit more liberal than the rest of the state. So overall, politics is pretty much a wash, whether it's South Dakota or Tennessee, if you're looking at conservative versus liberal, but you might want to dive into more of the local politics as far as what you like to see in your state, be it South Dakota or Tennessee. What about quality of life? Now, again, this is one of the things where it depends on what you're looking for, what you're thinking about, etc. But quality of life is kind of defined as how much do I enjoy my day-to-day life? What can I do in my off times? How is my work? How is my traffic? How is my commute? All the different things all kind of pile into that quality of life metric. Take a look at this chart that talks about Rapid City versus some of the other cities in Tennessee that gives you kind of a feel of the quality of life metrics from one to the other. It talks about the biggest advantage and the biggest disadvantage. For example, here in Rapid City, we've got that small town feel, but our access to nature is insane. You can be, walking down a trail or snow skiing in an hour, but we don't have the shopping and amenities on bigger cities such as Nashville. Here in Rapid City, the gateway to the Black Hills, we run on access to nature. No matter if you like the Black Hills or even the prairie, the Badlands, an hour will get you almost anywhere. However, Tennessee wins when it comes to the variety of nature. Tennessee has all things: mountains, rivers, lakes, caves, kayaking, fishing, all the things you love to go visit and do. But the experience that you have varies dramatically as far as what part of Tennessee you live in and how far away these things are. Chattanooga is probably the city in Tennessee that really matches what you can expect in Rapid City, about the same. Chattanooga is a bigger city than Rapid City, but it has kind of the same outdoor philosophy. You've got Lookout Mountain, the Tennessee River, hiking, climbing, mountain biking, water activities, state parks, downtown entertainment, along with restaurants and a much longer urban ecosystem. However, jumping back a little bit into the weather, Chattanooga gets a lot more rain. You're trading Rapid City snow, cold, and sitting outside in the summer because the humidity isn't there for that humidity, thunderstorms, and summer heat. Of course, if you're comparing quality of life from Rapid City to Nashville, it's really kind of a hard thing to compare since Nashville is such a bigger city. It's got so many more things, amenities, plus the downtown area and all the different things going on in Nashville. So that's really not much of a comparison as far as quality of life. So that all depends on whether you want the big city feel with more things going on, more amenities, more everything, or a smaller town feel with less of maybe less than what you'd expect, but just a little bit of everything. And let's talk about travel and transportation.
Still need something. What does it say to me? It says mode of transportation. Excuse me, monkey boy.
Here in Rapid City, we are remote. You're going 5 hours to get to another city that's relatively similar size as Rapid City, except for like Sioux Falls and Denver. And if you want to drive somewhere, it's a 10-hour drive to get almost anywhere. It's a 10-hour drive to Salt Lake City. I know, I just did it a couple times. It's a 10-hour drive to Minneapolis. And if you're looking to escape the winter, it's a 2 to 3 day drive to get somewhere really warm. Plus, with our regional airport, it's longer days to fly and so much harder. You're just flying to a hub to go somewhere else. It's always almost a full day experience to fly anywhere in and out of Rapid City. If you're in Tennessee, you're so much closer to a whole lot of anything. It is a large state, east to west. You're going to be traveling a number of hours to get from one side to the other. From the middle of Tennessee, you can be at Myrtle Beach to be on the ocean in about 10 hours. You can be at Orlando, Walt Disney World in 11, and 13 hours will get you into Texas. Plus, you're surrounded by a whole bunch of national forests and parks and different kinds of mountains to explore. Plus, if you're near Nashville, the international airport is right there. Plus, you're not more than a half day's drive away from any international airport. That makes flying so much easier no matter where you want to go. So who wins, Rapid City or Tennessee? Of course, there is no right answer here. The answer really depends entirely on you. I've given you a few pieces of the puzzle that would help you start to figure out what you like and what you don't like. Typically speaking, the one that makes the most difference is the weather. If driving on snow and ice is something you're scared of doing, Tennessee is probably the answer for you. But if you're looking to get away from a lot of people and civilization and traffic, Rapid City and the Black Hills might be perfect for you and your family. Take a look at this scorecard and rate what each one means to you, and then match that with Tennessee or Rapid City to decide your final destination when you're talking Rapid City versus Tennessee. If you like this video, make sure you check out this live stream I did with my buddy Dan Parker down in San Diego, California, where we contrast the two SDs, South Dakota versus San Diego. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and remember, love where you live.